So that was our Bayern Munich and PSG panelists for the day. And now the important leg, I wouldn't call it important because all four ties are, open, I would say. The Chelsea Porto tie being the most closest to, probably naming one favorite for the semi-final. But I would probably say Real Madrid versus Liverpool. What a game we have on our hands. And I know it is 3-1, but everybody knows the magic of Anfield. Well, of course, Jurgen Klopp has lost that magic this year, but there is going to be some kind of a comeback from Jurgen Klopp. That's what he came and said last week. That is what all the Liverpool faithful would want to believe. And we have two panelists for the day. We have Khyati and Priyanka from for Liverpool and Real Madrid.
Hi, hi.
Hey Khyati, hey Priyanka, and I would probably say um, different times for both teams. Khyati just saw her team beat arch rivals Barcelona and go on top of La Liga. And Priyanka, you won. Of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold scored a goal which might have, cooled off the criticism for a bit. But you come to the top four. Of course, that's a good start for you all for the end of the season. What do you think, Priyanka? Where do you go from here?
So obviously the win yesterday it was definitely I think a confidence booster because in terms of the criticism Trent was getting, I personally was so happy to see him score such a good goal, such an important goal, and yeah, he has been at the end of receiving a lot of criticism as you said, and it's going to be tough going forward from here. But I think the boys have it in them to pick themselves up and go again and do it.
Well, coming to Khyati now, because of course she's had quite the week. Not just her, but Zinedine Zidane and the Real Madrid team has had quite the week. No Hazard, of course there was no Hazard, no Ramos for the Liverpool game.
No,
Varane
but
missing all the matches, and
no.
everybody's got all of these absentees, and Real Madrid go out to prove that they are Real Madrid again, and they went out with the Vinicius Junior stepping up, of
Yeah.
course, in the tie against Liverpool, and they won yesterday against Barcelona, quite a big game. So, how do you see that shaping up for Wednesday's match? How confident will Zidane be?
This is actually a very tricky question, honestly. I am very unsure about this match. Honestly, I was equally unsure about the Clasico last night too, but Real Madrid once again, as you mentioned, went ahead and proved, they're Real Madrid and cannot be underestimated. But for this Clasico, Klopp is really determined to come back, and we saw what happened to Barca also last time, and I am a little scared, honestly, but I don't think it's going to be very easy for Liverpool. And even if it gets close, I am positive Real Madrid might qualify for the next round.
You said you've seen what happened to Barcelona last time at Anfield, and truly Anfield is quite the place to go to because for any opponent going to Anfield is quite a task. To go there and to think whether they'll be able to get even 1 point. That was the kind of mentality Klopp built at Anfield. But now you see teams are coming to Anfield with the belief that they can probably go and take the 3 points out there. So
Yeah.
Priyanka, what do you think has changed, and what do you think will change or will have to change in order for Wednesday's game?
Okay, so honestly, about the Anfield thing, it was just a drop in performance, and that's why we saw them losing. But at the end of the day, it depends on how the team actually shows up and performs, and I think they're going to do that again because and another thing is I'm pretty surprised that a Real Madrid fan is scared of us, even though y'all have like a two-goal lead right now. So that's good to see because obviously Liverpool has been known to make those astonishing comebacks. And all of us fans, even as you mentioned, Klopp is hoping for one of those again at Anfield. And it'll be amazing to see it. It's going to be tough, no doubt. It's going to be tough. Um, we cannot afford any mistakes. And if you've seen, majority of the goals that have been conceded this season have been due to mistakes, have been due to silly errors, or like a slip somewhere. So I think if the entire team works as a unit and prevents any kind of mistake. Obviously, again, I'll mention about the defense not being having that solid Van Dijk, Gomez at the back. We've made do with Kabak and Nat Phillips, who have done well. They obviously pretty new for centre backs, but they have been doing pretty well, a pretty good job. So let's hope they stand up strong and there's no like errors, which leads us to conceding any goals, and we can hopefully score as well. Not hopefully, we have to score. We can't afford to, get into the box and miss, and keep the ball with us and still not score any goals. We have to get that attack working somehow, and I have faith that Klopp will do something to make sure that happens.
So you said errors, and if you have a look at the matches which have gone by Liverpool, if you have a look at the last two Liverpool versus Real games itself, in one game you had Loris Karius who had a howler, and you had Trent Alexander-Arnold who gifted a goal last week round, and you also you've seen Allison against City, and he also had a couple of howlers in a few games. So do you probably think something has changed in that dressing room? Do you probably think all these players who were building up, to become a unit, do you probably think they're probably on the cusp of falling apart? Do you think Klopp needs to get them back together?
No, as a few see, as a football player, there's obviously mistakes bound to happen, and I think it's just a small temporary period that it's been going on. Allison probably had a just a few uh, bad decisions, bad things that were costly for us. But I don't think there's anything wrong, because if you see the drive that even yesterday during the match versus Aston Villa, you could see how badly they wanted that goal. They knew how important it was to win, and even though they missed quite a few chances, they were going on to attack again and again. And Chen's goal that went in was a rebound, and the keeper saved it, and then someone tried to clear it, and they didn't. So that shows how hungry they actually were to get that second goal. They didn't give up. They kept pushing, and that was an attitude that was seen in the last few seasons as well. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the way that the players are thinking. I think that's pretty much um, how it's always been at Liverpool, and that is to win, like, at least since Klopp is coming.
Well, Liverpool started out well last game, and then they fell apart after Courtois, Vinicius, and that midfield when they started targeting Trent Alexander-Arnold's defensive awareness. And that midfield three which Real Madrid possess, I'm pretty sure any team in the world would want to possess. And if you have a look at that, so what do you probably think that would have to change in terms for Liverpool? And coming to Khyati, if you have a look at Real Madrid, what do you probably look at for this Wednesday? Do you probably think that will be the tactic going ahead? Targeting Trent Alexander-Arnold, or do you probably think another tactic by Zinedine Zidane?
I don't know because see, Arnold scored last night. I didn't watch the entire match, so I'm not aware how did he exactly play. But I think he's going to avoid the same mistakes next time. So I don't think they're going to stick with the same tactics because Klopp is obviously not going to be using the same tactics because he saw that did not work last time at all, and he might not start Trent at the same place. So I mean, even if he does, you never know. He'll probably be, uh, doing some other role. So I don't think the tactics are going to be same or like I think Real Madrid it's possible it could stick to yesterday's what do you say formation 4-3-3 and probably play like that because we saw Casemiro, Cruz and Modric were like performing at that most in that formation and I don't just in specificity to trend. I don't think it's going to be the same this time because Klopp will obviously not repeat it. And
So we have a lot of questions from our fans, as the Fanspire started this new initiative. So and most of them are Liverpool based, and most of them are asking, because not a lot of people want Liverpool to go through. but a lot of people do want to see Liverpool play well. So, of course, there are always going to be questions for a Liverpool fan. So, I have a few questions. I'll give you some of them. So, for Priyanka, a question by Kushagra. What midfield are you expecting against Real Madrid?
Okay, firstly, I definitely want to see Thiago there, because I absolutely, he's a class player, and you could see that yesterday also, that definitely he was contributing a lot. And Fabinho, because ever since he's not been made to play centre back. He has been doing really well in midfield as well. And Wijnaldum, he's been constant for us there. Of course, I think that last time as well I mentioned missing Henderson, but obviously as our captain, I think we're going to miss him as well in that midfield role. But I'm counting on Ginny, Wijnaldum, Thiago, and Fabinho to be our midfield for the match against Real.
A tricky question because both of these teams going up against each other are European champions, European giants, and a tricky question for Priyanka because obviously not like Real Madrid, Liverpool have they won the Premier League last season after 30 years of hurt, but they've fallen down. So a question from Vishnu Kulkarni: was this season a blip for Liverpool, or will they have an even more uh, there's a word I would not like to say, but yeah, even more worse situations than this season in the coming times ahead.
Definitely not. It's going to be a bit of a rough patch for us, and we are going to bounce back, obviously. Um, Again, we're going to be getting our players back from injury, like Virgil van Dijk, Gomez, and that is just going to build the confidence of the team, which probably, was a bit shaky after the losses, especially at Anfield. And definitely, it's not going to get worse from here. We're going to come back, we're going to bounce back, and we're going to show, the team that won those trophies. We're going to get that team back soon, and it's definitely not going downhill from here. It's just forward and climbing each step as we go.
A question for both of you now, which we have, from a lot of our followers, but of course, this is the burning question. So there are two questions which I would convert into one. So number one, do you probably think Liverpool can beat Real at Anfield? And number two, do you probably both of you do you probably see that on Wednesday Anfield witnesses another miracle and another Spanish giant goes out at Anfield? You can go first, Kathy.
I'm so sorry. Can you please repeat both the questions? I think I lost you for 2 minutes.
So do you probably think that Liverpool can beat Real in the second leg? And do both of you probably have a look at Wednesday and you probably have a look at another Spanish giant crashing out due to a miracle at Anfield?
Can Liverpool beat Real Madrid? They can, but I don't think that much to qualify. They'll probably, if by chance they play well, which I don't think. Real Madrid is in a very great comeback form right now because they had the worst start to the season, and like the past month, like January was very bad, and they are in that absolute comeback mode right now. So Zidane has to prove that he can't be taken lightly, and we've seen match after match how they've been playing in the past 19 games. They've only lost one match, so it's not going to be very easy for Liverpool to beat Real Madrid. But I'm saying hypothetically, if by chance, worst case scenario, something happens, Liverpool starts playing well, or Real Madrid is not able to keep up with that or something, Liverpool might win one or by a goal or two, but I don't think they'll qualify. Like I think Real Madrid will maintain the lead and go to the next round.
Priyanka, your thoughts?
Okay, so firstly, as much as I want them to win, as much as I'm hoping and pray that they win, it's going to be tough. It's undoubtedly going to be tough for us to, especially since we are 2 goals down, to have the mentality that, okay, we are going to score 2 goals and we're going to get the winner as well. It's tough. It's a tough thing, but it's not impossible. And as a Liverpool fan, I am so hoping to see, yeah, as you mentioned, a miracle at Anfield and probably another brilliant comeback. That's what I am praying and hoping for. That's it.
True. So as I said, Liverpool did start off well, before they suddenly collapsed. And if you have a look at the expected goals of last week's game, which Real won 3-1, you have a look at how Real Madrid 1.93 and Liverpool 0.79. So while the scoreline justifies how well Real played, in the second half, Real were quite restricted to on the attacking outlet, and Liverpool suddenly when they came in, when they went in, when the halftime whistle blew, it was always, we were looking at all the Liverpool players dejected. But when they came out, they came out with a fire, they came out with something to prove. And they did do that for the first 20, 25 minutes, I would say, before, they sat down, in a calm fashion again. They weren't very, very attacking throughout. But what do you think, Priyanka? Where does this change? Where do you probably think Klopp starts off with the same intent?
Okay, so you just mentioned that the Liverpool players at the second half, came back with some sort of renewed energy to go and get it, and that answered your previous question as well as to something wrong in the dressing room of Liverpool, and that gives a clear answer that no. So in terms of the game, you did mention that 20 minutes in the second half was really good. Liverpool was playing really well. So another thing is Liverpool's possession. They did have possession of the ball, but they weren't really putting those forward passes to attack as much. And also their high pressing, if you notice, the kind of pressing Liverpool does did make Real Madrid lose the ball quite a lot. So that could be something that we capitalize on. And as they after the 20 minutes of that second half, where Liverpool was really looking really good, and even defensively, if you had a look at the game, the shape in which they were defending was really good for some part of it. But again, they did collapse in the middle. But towards the end, you could see that they were still trying and trying their best to get into the goal. One of the centre backs, I think it was Phillips, was he was quite somewhere near the box, and trying to make those passes so that you could find a through ball somewhere. So that shows that yes, they were hungry for the goal, and I think if our attackers get it right, really counting on Jota to probably score some really good goals.
You said attacking intent. You said attacking intent. And there's another question by Summer, a Liverpool
Mhm.
fan. You probably see Jota, Firmino, Salah, and Mane, all four of them starting from the onset. Because Real Madrid, whatever you say, their defense, it isn't experienced. They do have skill, but it isn't experienced at the Champions League level. So do you probably see Klopp going and targeting that?
I don't think having four attackers is going to give you more goals. I think it ultimately boils down to how you play as a unit and how that unit functions, how well that unit functions in order to attack. So I think it's going to be the same three attackers. Jurgen isn't going to change it up. That's my personal opinion. I think he'll probably play Salah, Jota, and Mane. And also, if he doesn't play all three, if he doesn't play all four, he does have the option of fresh legs, which can come in somewhere towards this in somewhere in the second half. So I don't think playing all four attackers makes sense, and that's not going to give us any more goals. It just depends on the strategy and the team that he has in mind, and we can still pull it off.
So just before I get to your top three performers and predictions for both of you, I would want to ask Kathy because all of our Real Madrid fans, all of the Barcelona or all of the anti-Real Madrid fans too, everybody was saying laughing at Zinedine Zidane, and when Cristiano Ronaldo left, there was a lot of questions over whether this team can actually achieve something for the next 3 4 years. Well, Real Madrid has won a La Liga, and now they're staring at another semi-final in the Champions League. So has Zinedine Zidane done enough to prove his haters wrong?
Actually, you know what? Many people don't realize this, or like only the Real Madrid fans realize it, and the haters are obviously just very blinded to it. If you saw Real Madrid state this season, they had 50 injuries. They had more injuries than goals scored the entire season. Like they got 50 injuries this season. All their main players, one after the other, were out, and the entire team was in an absolute mess. And the way Zidane has gotten the team out of it, And I don't think any other manager would have been able to do that for Real Madrid. And I think no matter what he does, even if he goes ahead and if by chance we win the La Liga or like Champions League is a little unlikely because since Aguero is retiring, I wouldn't mind Man City winning the league because that'll be a very sweet farewell. But winning the Champions League for Real Madrid is highly unlikely. So if by chance they win La Liga, then haters, I mean, they'll still be talking that, they couldn't win the Champions League without Ronaldo. And like, there's going to be something or the other always. But as far as Zinedine Zidane's performance or like his work for the club is being spoken about, I think he's done a marvelous job and nobody could have done better than what he has. Like handling that and beating Barca, beating Liverpool with like the main centre backs, both the main centre backs out, all the half of the players injured, and with Hazard also not being available since the time he has joined the club. So with all that, he's done a very great job.
Main centre backs out, and an injury crisis at your club is something I've been hearing a lot this season in the Premier League, and of course we talked about Liverpool. So Priyanka, looking at the situation Liverpool is in, and looking at the match, on Wednesday, top three performers for you, even though there has been an injury crisis. Who do you think steps up on the big night at Anfield? Top three performers for you, and your predictions for the game.
Okay, so I definitely think Mo Salah is going to be one of them. He has performed exceptionally well even in the Premier League, and he's been getting those goals for Liverpool. Uh, I think Jota as well. Ever since his return from injury, he's been as good as he was previously. So I'm counting on Jota and Salah, and I think I'd like to say
A surprise
Fabinho.
pick?
Yeah, because that guy has just been so crucial for us. He stepped up in the center back position. Even like when you see Kabak getting taken off during like somewhere towards the end of the second half, you have Fabinho covering in as a center back again. So he's moving from midfield to center back. So I think he's really crucial. So yeah, those three are my choice for who's going to step up for
Your
Liverpool.
predictions for the game?
This is tough. I really want to see a 3-0. It's tough, but it's not impossible, and I want to see a 3-0 Liverpool.
Well, of course, Khyati is the happy one right now, but we never know. Thursday morning, it might be all the Liverpool fans in Real Madrid space. Your top three performers for Wednesday night, Khyati.
Cruz, Modric, and either Benzema or Vinicius Jr. Like Cruz and Modric have anyways been performing. That's all. I mean, they've been carrying the team the entire season anyways. But other than that, I think when Vinny also in the past two matches we've seen him step up, and I think he'll also keep up that pace. And Asensio and Benzema are also obviously going to join in. Yeah, and predictions. I am going to say a 1-1 draw.
Oh, 1-1 draw. Playing it safe, of course, Real
Yeah,
Madrid.
or
So
2-1
look,
win for Real Madrid.
Wednesday is going to be a huge night because Wednesday is, of course, we have Liverpool versus Real Madrid. It might be the day where Klopp and his army probably come back from the dead and come back to say that we're here for the Champions League. Or, of course, it might be the day when Real Madrid probably get up and say we are in here, we are in for the race, we are still in the La Liga, we are still in the Champions League. Big day for football, big day for all the football fans. So, of course, Priyanka hoping for a Liverpool juggernaut and Kathy playing it safe, the Real Madrid way, playing it safe, going about it quietly and predicting that Real Madrid go through. So, thanks, Priyanka. Thanks, Kathy, for coming on Fanspire.
Thank you
And
so
Thank
much.
we
you, thank
appreciate
you, thank you,
we appreciate all the questions from all of our fans and all of our followers.